This is my shed. No Wi-Fi, no cell signal, just me and my regrets. My internet provider wanted over $3,000 to fix it. Nope. Instead, I found a way to do it for under $200, and it works just as well. I picked up this Adalov Wi-Fi bridge on Amazon for around $100, and it has fantastic reviews. Plus, you'll also need a second router to receive the Wi-Fi signal in your remote location. I found one for just $30 on Amazon. So, for a fraction of the cost, you can have high-speed internet anywhere you need it. All right, time for my favorite part, unboxing. There's just something oddly satisfying about cracking open a new gadget. Let's see what's inside and make sure we didn't just buy an expensive box of air. I'll walk you through each piece and how it all works together, because trust me, if I can figure this out, so can you. So let's check what's in the box. 1. PoE, or Power over Ethernet adapters. These allow you to send both power and data through a single Ethernet cable. 2. Wireless bridge units, transmitter and receiver. These are the heart of the setup. One connects to your main router. This is the A unit, and the other goes to your remote location. This is the B unit. 3. Mounting brackets and hose clamps. These give you flexibility to attach the bridges to a wall or pole, depending on your setup. 4. Ethernet cables. The kit comes with short cables, but you may need longer ones depending on how far you're extending your home router. 5. Instruction manual. The manual is helpful, but I'll break everything down step by step so you don't have to rely on it. 6. Second router, needed for the remote location. This is an essential part of the setup. Since the bridge simply extends the signal, you'll need a second router to actually broadcast Wi-Fi in your shop or shed. I grabbed this one for just $30 on Amazon, making this whole setup super affordable. Before we start drilling holes and mounting anything permanently, let's do a quick test indoors. Trust me, this step can save you from a lot of frustration later. Imagine climbing up a ladder, securing everything in place, and then realizing, oops, no signal. Yeah, we're not doing that. We'll run 2 test setups. First, connecting the A unit to our home router, and second, setting up the B unit in a remote location. If everything works, we move on to the full installation. If not, well, at least we haven't committed to any bad decisions yet. Okay, let's do our first setup. Connecting the main A unit to your router. First things first, let's get the A unit talking to our home router. Plug one end of an Ethernet cable into your router's LAN port. Connect the other end to the PoE adapter's LAN port. This will send data to the bridge. Take a second Ethernet cable and connect the PoE adapter's PoE port to the A bridge unit. This provides both power and data. Power on the PoE adapter. You should see the unit light up and initialize. Boom! The A unit is now powered up and ready to send a signal. No sparks, no smoke so far, so good. Now let's set up the receiver. Now it's time to set up the B unit. This guy's responsible for picking up the signal, so placement is key. No hiding it behind a tree or inside a metal toolbox. Run an Ethernet cable from the PoE adapter's PoE port to the B bridge unit. This powers the unit. Take another Ethernet cable and connect the PoE adapter's LAN port to your second router. Power on the PoE adapter. The B unit should light up and start searching for the signal. All right, both units are powered up. Now, let's see if they can actually talk to each other, because otherwise this whole thing is just an expensive set of blinking lights. Now that we have both units installed and powered up, let's check if they're communicating. If all goes well, we should see some signal activity. Both A and B units have signal lights flashing, which means they're powered on and detecting a connection. Now, we need to pair them so that B receives a signal from A. On the device, we have an M, master, and S, slave switch. I'll switch unit A to M, master. The B unit, which is just here to listen and obey, needs to be in S mode. Next, both units need to be on the same wireless channel to communicate. Imagine they're on a walkie-talkie if one's on channel 1 and the other's on channel 5. They're not going to hear each other. So, I'll scan for a free channel. And looks like channel 5 is clear. Let's go with that. Set the A unit to channel 5. Set the B unit to channel 5. Now both devices are on the same channel, and yes, the signal lights on both units are steady. That means they're paired and communicating. We have liftoff. All right, the indoor test was a success. No smoke, no sparks, and most importantly, Wi-Fi actually worked. But now comes the real challenge, taking this setup outside where we have to deal with distance, obstacles, and good old Mother Nature. Let's get to it. Before we start drilling holes and running cables, we need to figure out the best spots for both units. The A unit, transmitter, needs to go on the house, ideally on an exterior wall facing the shed. The B unit, receiver, will go on the shed, making sure nothing like trees, walls, or a curious raccoon blocks the signal. If your home router is far from where you plan to mount the A unit, you'll either need a long Ethernet cable or, if you're feeling adventurous, relocate your home modem closer for a shorter cable run. I'll let you decide how much cable management stress you want in your life. Now let's head to the shed. No internet, no cell signal, just me and my questionable life choices. This is about 1,000 feet from the house, and I want to install a security camera here, so I need a rock-solid Wi-Fi connection. After scoping out the best spot, I found the perfect place for the setup, a sturdy shelf where all the equipment will go. Let's go over everything I brought to power and connect this system. 1. The B unit, receiver. This will catch the signal from the A unit. 2. A second router, needed to distribute Wi-Fi inside the shed. 3. A power source, because the shed has no electricity. Now here's the fun part, getting power without running cables all the way from the house. Since this shed is off-grid, I'm using a power bank connected to a solar panel. It's basically free energy from the sun. And if it works, I get to feel like a tech-savvy survivalist. 200 watts solar panel, plus battery setup. This will provide enough juice to run. The B unit, receiver, the Wi-Fi router, and a security camera. I tested this solar setup before and it works great. Link in the description. Now, let's get the receiver mounted and powered up. Drill holes and mount the B unit under the roof for weather protection. Make sure it's angled properly toward the A unit for the best signal reception. Run an Ethernet cable from the B unit inside the shed to the router. Now that the receiver is installed, let's fire up the system. Set up the solar panel outside in direct sunlight, connect it to the battery power bank, and plug in the B unit receiver and Wi-Fi router. And just like that, we have power. Now, let's make sure these two units are actually talking to each other. Just like in our indoor test, we now need to pair the A and B units and set them to the same channel. Let's see if they remember how to communicate, kind of like setting up two long-lost friends on a blind date. Both units have flashing lights, which means they're powered on and searching for a connection. Now, we need to manually pair them so the B unit receives a signal from A. On A unit, transmitter, we need to set the switch to M, master. On B unit, receiver, we need to set the switch to S, slave. Scan for the best channel. Channel 5 looks clear. Set both A and B units to channel 5. Connection check. And we have a solid signal light. That means they're paired and officially in a long-distance relationship. Now for the moment of truth. Do we actually have Wi-Fi in the shed? Or do we just set up an expensive decoration? Check Wi-Fi networks on my phone. Success. The new network appears as Link is set up 020. Run a speed test. Connection is fast and stable. Stream a video. No buffering, no issues. Wi-Fi is officially alive. Now that we've got a solid signal out here, I can hook up my security camera and monitor the space remotely. Plus, the power setup is working perfectly. I even have enough battery power to run a small light inside the shed. Cost breakdown, what I saved versus what I spent. Instead of paying my internet provider over $3,000 to run a cable out here, I set this whole system up for under $200. Wi-Fi bridge for $100, an extra router for $30, solar power setup. Already had it, but similar setups cost around $200. And the best part, this Wi-Fi bridge can work for distances up to a mile. So if you need an even stronger connection, there are even more powerful options out there. Wi-Fi in the shed and no buffering. This setup is solid, and I even have enough power left to run a light. So what do you think? Would this work for your space? Drop a comment, and if you're curious about off-grid power, check out my solar power bank setup. and see you in the next project.